Hi there, welcome to my AQA A-Level Business examination structure for 2025. This will take you through what to expect in papers 1, 2 and 3 of the A-Level Business programme. Before we get started, let's just do a few points to remember when doing the exam, a couple of tips for you and a few reminders. So it is 3 two-hour exam papers, paper 1, 2 and 3. And it's normally spread over a sort of 3-week window. And this year, for 2025, time of recording, it's paper 1 on the 14th of May, just under a week later. It's paper 2. Then you normally get half term in between there, and then you come back after half term and you sit paper 3 on the 9th of June. It's nicely spread out, so it does give you time to revise between each paper. Common question I get is, are there units on specific papers? The answer to that is no. You are expected to know all 10 units across all 3 papers. Keep handwriting as neat as possible, something that I sort of say in class, because the neater your handwriting is, the easier it is to identify the work and where the work marks are going to be awarded for you. So if you can do that, that's a bonus. Just because there's loads of space on the exam paper, what does that mean? Well, sometimes on these larger mark questions, there'll be 4 or 5 blank pages. For example, a 25 mark question might come with four blank sides of A4 paper to fill in. Don't feel that you have to fill in all the pages. That's not what it means. It's normally for people with larger handwriting or people who want to say more and what have you. But of course, as you'll probably know and aware, it is possible to sort of cram a 25 marker into maybe a couple of sides of A4, maybe a page and a half, depending on the quality of what you're saying. So just because the space is there, don't feel you have to use it up, okay? And don't feel guilty for not filling it up. Have an awareness of the number of marks for each question and the different command words. This is really important. So a tip would be to read the question, then glance down at the number of marks the question is worth. Obvious thing to say, your teacher's probably mentioned that multiple times, but also have an awareness of the command word and what it means. So if it's analyze, evaluate, calculate, you need to know what each of these words mean and how to go about answering them. Know the format of answering those 9, 12, 16, 20, 24, 25 markers. Each one is different in one way or another, and your teacher should have taken you through the format for answering these particular questions, because there is a particular style that the examiner is looking for. There's no point just going in, answering the question how you want to. You've got to go in and answer it how the examiner wants you to answer it. Know your formulas. There's a great booklet out from AQA on all the formulas that you need to know going into the exam, and being familiar with those and testing yourself on them is a really good tip for going forward into these exams. And of course, goes without saying, don't go into the exam having not sat past papers for 1, 2 and 3. There's plenty of sites out there for past papers where you can do them. And I would recommend 2 or 3 per paper to sit. Why? Because it generates familiarity, and you will know and see that they are all laid out pretty much the same, and I'm about to take you through that structure right now. So now let's take a look at paper 1. So that's what it looks like when it comes to you, and the contents of paper 1 always kind of look like this. Section A, you'll be expected to do 15 multiple choice questions. Okay, see my other videos. I've done 5 videos on multiple choice questions from real exam papers. So if you wanted to test yourself, and it's a good idea too, because of course it helps to get the sort of familiarity of the style of questions that AQA set you. Followed by section B, that's a mix of 4, 5 and 9 mark questions. And then section C is 1 essay from a choice of 2. So you choose just 1 essay. And then you get a second essay and you get a choice of 2, and of course you just choose 1. And the grading for that, so section A of course is 15 marks. Section B, that mix of 4, 5 and 9 mark questions, is 35 marks. And of course 1 essay is worth 25 marks to you, and a second essay is worth another 25 marks to you, taking you to a total of 50 marks and 100 marks for the exam paper. Now, one of the tips that you could have with paper one is just to briefly talk about multiple choice questions. If you don't know the answer to a multiple choice question, I say leave it blank until the end, because there could be something else in the exam paper that prompts you to get you thinking about that particular question later on in the paper. So I would suggest leaving it blank if you don't know it, then going back to it at the end and then having a go, see if anything's prompted you in the paper. And of course, if you don't know the answer at all, never leave a multiple choice question blank, because of course it's definitely worth taking a guess, because you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. So never leave the multiple choice blank. Mix of 4, 5 and 9 mark questions in section B. You just need to be familiar with how to answer those 4, 5 and 9 mark questions. That's not what this video is about. This is just about examination structure. So I'll move on from that, and again, section C, 2 essays. So that's paper one, and that would take 2 hours of your time. Another thing you could do with the essay questions, section C, is that you could do section C first, because of course section C is nothing to do with section A or B, so there's no connection. So why not do the 2 25 mark questions first, because you'll be more alert, more awake perhaps in the first hour than you would be in the second hour. And once those 2 large mark questions are out the way, you can kind of relax a bit in your second hour, doing a mix of the section B, and then finish off with your 15 multiple choice questions in the sort of the last 20 minutes or so. It's just my thoughts. You don't have to do that. You might want to follow the exam paper as it is, but some people prefer to do section C first, while they're fully alert and at the start of the exam. Now let's take a look at paper 2. So roughly about a week later, you'll be sitting paper 2, and looks like this. So the contents of paper 2 are as follows. You have 3 9 markers in paper 2, 3 16 markers there as well, and then a mixture of 2 4 and 6 markers. Questions are based around 3 different business scenarios. So you'll read a business scenario, likely you'll have a small mark question, then you'll have a 9 marker and a 6 marker. Then you'll move on, you'll have another business scenario, a few small questions, then a 9 marker, then a 16 marker, and then repeated one more time. And then that's your 3 9 markers and your 3 16 markers and so forth. Done. Okay, again, 2 hours to do this. This is how the marks work out on paper 2. 27 marks, of course, obviously, for the 3 9 markers. Your 3 16 markers will take you up to 48 marks, or give you 48 marks. And then a mixture of the 2 4 6 markers come out of 25 marks. And of course, again, that is 100 marks for paper 2. And then finally, the heavyweight of the papers, I consider it to be paper 3. So let's have a look at the content of paper 3. And it's, like I say, it's pretty heavy going, but again, obviously all possible. 2 12 mark questions, 2 16 mark questions based on case study, 1 20 mark question based on the case study, and 1 24 mark question. So it is large mark question all the way. There's going to be a lot of writing, and you just need to be ready for that and be able to do that, get your timing spot on during the 2 hour window. Goes without saying, the marks look like this. Of course, obviously 24 marks for the 12 markers, 32 marks for the 16 markers, 20 marks for the 20 marker, and of course 24 marks for the 24. Comes out 100 marks. So, as you've probably worked out already, over the 3 exam papers, it is a total of 300 marks. And next up, we'll talk about grade boundaries. So let's just finish off and talk about grade boundaries, and to see what you would have got if you'd have taken this exam paper in 2024. So these were the grade boundaries, not for all subjects, of course, but just a screenshot, but you're focusing on here. Okay, so we're looking at the business A level for AQA. Maximum mark, of course, was 300, but look at this. So A star, all you needed to get is 210 out of 300, which means that over the 3 papers, of course, you could have got 90 marks wrong and still walk away with an A star. So everything is possible going forward when you think about that. Grade A. 188 out of 300 secured you a grade A in A-level business, and 159 secured you a grade B. 131 out of 300 was a grade C, Grade D, 103, and Grade E, 75 out of the 300. Now, to get the A-level business, you do need to sit all 3 papers. Okay, so you must sit paper 1, 2, and 3 to be awarded a grade. But there you go, the grade boundaries are there for you to have a look at. How does that look in terms of a percentage? Well, I'd say 2024 was slightly lower than the national average because in 2024 A star was 70% that year, slightly lower than normal. Grade A was 62%, Grade B 53%, and Grade C 43%. D 34%, and a Grade E 25%. So it must have been a difficult paper or a difficult year and so forth, but that was the grade boundaries. So that's the short presentation on the structure of the exam, and I wish you all the best with it. Good luck.